Hello and welcome to another episode of Velocity Kinetics. Today, what we're going to be talking about... Oh, is that better? Maybe, I don't know. With that light on, it looks like I've been kidnapped. With that light on, there's not enough light in this room. Oh, careful. Cats, I'm trying to pull my headphones off the desk. I'll be right back. Cat wants belly pets. Look at this little bundle. Look at this. Anyway, so I just want to do the yearly recap, or what seems to be a yearly recap now for Velocity Kinetics. Talk about how we're doing and what's going on next. So, let's get to it. So, our year as Velocity Kinetics has been a bit mixed. Oddly, the best performing video, at least according to YouTube on the email they sent me the other day, best performing video still is Swace Part 2, which is over 3,000 views. Now, for a little tiny motoring blog vlog, that I think we've only got 22 subscribers on YouTube, and people that follow us on WordPress... Technically followers, I think it's 40. How many of those are bots? Probably 41. Although if you are following us on WordPress, thank you. I don't mean to include you in the bots. That video is still impressive, which is bizarre for me because I've done several follow-ups and they've not done as well. Perhaps if I ever bought another car, and I did a similar style vlog, maybe I'll get some. Maybe that'll get a similar number of views. It would be interesting to see, but I'm not at least yet, in the financial position to do so. Videos have been a bit mixed this year. There have been massive gaps. I just haven't had time, to be honest. And obviously, with those tiny follower numbers and things that I've mentioned, I know people say, well, why are you... Some people who do YouTube Pro, or people who, as in YouTube as their career, or back it up with things like Patreon and things, or heck, even people trolling in the comments say, well, why are you doing it? Why do you act like there's a big community? Because it gives me something to do. I'm going to have to talk about mental health side of things, because I suffer from anxiety, depression at times. Well, a lot of the time, but still. There's been various things that have caused me this over the year, and during some counselling I had at the tail end of 2023, I realised that not doing the vlog gives me... It's wrong to say it gives me anxiety, far from it, because I could stop doing Velocity Kinetics tomorrow, and the content could just continue to watch. It's a bit like an old channel called Storm Space Productions I used to have. I still have it, actually. The channel still exists, but the website's long gone and everything like that. I think even the Twitter's long gone. And every once in a while, the videos on that will peak in views, but nothing to write home about, nothing to get any income from or anything along those lines. But it gives me an outlet. It gives me something else to think about. It gives me something to plan. It's a bit like why I love cooking and baking. It gives me something else to think about. And if I happen to run into a community that I'd love to be part of, or if lightning ever struck this channel to make it become its own community, so something similar to, say, to example, to Auto Alex, his channel, Car Throttle channel, because they seem to be rather lovely little communities that they've got going on. If I could somehow repeat the same, then, I'd be eternally grateful. But it was apparent during these counselling sessions that I need the outlet, which is why the content has increased. Whether 2024 will mean I can do as much, I don't know. I've got a new camera on the way, so maybe I'll be able to do some better filming. I've got the Nikon that I used way back when Velocity Kinetics used to be on my own YouTube channel. I used to green screen everything. That camera is 10 years old, so I've got a new mirrorless DSLR on the way that can apparently film in 4K, but because my PC is not up to snuff anymore, it'll depend on what I can do on that front as to how well I can edit everything. We've bounced between Premiere Pro and Kden Live for editing video. Why do I say we? It's just me. I bounce between those for editing video because this video has been recorded on my phone. It records on this phone for some reason. Well, I'm sure it's an Android/Samsung reason. Records in a variable frame rate, which then means I need to use a program called Handbrake to lock the frame rate in place if I want to edit in Premiere Pro. The problem with Premiere Pro is it takes forever to render. And we're not just talking, oh, it's a 7-8 hour job. The video about where I've gone through, is it episode 125? Episode 125 took 29.75 hours to render. And there's not an awful lot going on in that. If you think about it, I could understand if the video was loaded with transitions and layers and things like that, but it's not. It's the intro bit from my phone, which thankfully I didn't need to handbrake, but still. Then it's the old intro slate. Then it's webcam footage. That sounds like I've done something sexual there, doesn't it? Then it's webcam footage with a bit of a boost on the sound because I couldn't find my external mic, and that's it. And whilst I've chopped bits out, I don't always. Well, in that video I didn't. I didn't put any transition between the chops, so I didn't do a dissolve or anything. So it should have been fairly straightforward for it to do. Kden Live, I don't need to do the handbrake, but it's a lot harder to get used to how to work the program, although it's an amazing piece of open source software. We've changed intro slate this year. I did it a few weeks ago. What day I want today as I record this, 28th of December. I made it Boxing Day. 26th is when I made it. Using some old Swace driving footage. I like that shot taken on that GoPro. I know for some reason the footage is not as smooth as it could be, and I don't know if it's the camera or whether it's my computer that's made it choppy, and in turn rendering it's made it choppier. But I just love that shot of my car coming down the hill. I wasn't absolutely booking it. I mean, I could have gone faster, but I liked it. I've updated the social contacts on it. As I said in another video, it's trying to step away. A little bit of me is also trying to step away from anything Rust related, because I used that new slate not long after that most recent slate. At least I'd used it. I had the After Effects file originally. I made it. Russ was part of it with Road Race Parts. Then when he died and Road Race Parts went, I then redid it and took Road Race Parts out. I think I replaced Road Race Parts with the PayPal link. I still miss Russ. It's been really hard making more content with no idea how to move it forward with it. Because Russ, I could always count on an independent and honest thought on how things were going. And if you liked a video, he would always tell me honestly whether he liked it or didn't. He was not a blowing smoke sort of person. My work has become because I work from home. I started working from home last year. I do have to sometimes travel up to Edinburgh. So when I do have to do that, which typically is meant to be once a month, but even though it's only once a month, I lose about 3 days doing it because it's the travel there, to travel back, and then what I'm actually doing in Edinburgh. I've tried to trim that down to 2 days, but that is an incredibly tight schedule. Not ideal. Sarah's work is, well, it's work. She's been messed around picking up extra shifts and things because of being short-staffed. NHS is doing a fantastic job, but they've got to learn that, especially senior management. It's not just NHS. The last conversation I had about this, a long conversation about this, was with Sarah's friend Natalie, and Sarah as well. I think we'd gone to dinner at Miller and Carter in Newcastle, or it was when we went to Chiquitos in the Metro Centre in Gateshead. I can't remember which year it was. One was 1 year. There was a year apart between them, give or take a day or two. Nearly exactly a year, I know that much. But on one of those visits, I said, and Natalie and Sarah both said that's exactly the problem. So many businesses, the NHS in particular, seem to think that the 110% people gave during COVID, that 110, 120% is the new 100%. It's not. People were able to work at 110, 120% during COVID because it was a special circumstance, an unusual situation. That 110, 120% is not sustainable long term. If you think about it, if you give 110% over 10 days of work, you've actually given 11 days of work, if that makes sense. It makes sense in my head, but you get the sentiment. So Sarah's needed a bit more, I won't say looking after because it makes her sound weak and feeble, which is not the case at all. But she's needed more help, more support, and with both of us now doing the weight loss, we're trying to do things like extra fitness in there to try and speed that along as much as we can. And trying to start a family in the middle of all this, problems around that. Yeah, enough about that side of things. We changed location because we moved house, so in this not in that stupid cottage anymore. It was a lovely cottage on paper, but the landlord was an absolute tosspot. I've had a few ongoing issues with the Swace, so I've done a couple of videos about that this year. There is a video, don't know when it'll be out because it's rendered and ready to be uploaded. I just haven't uploaded at the time of recording, where I'm talking about the Swace being a bit of a shit magnet. And recently it has been. I don't know what it is, and it's one of these things, if I had the money to, it probably would have gone by now, even if it was just for another Swace. That particular Swace has been through an awful lot, and it's one of these things I feel conflicted. I think I said about it in its 2-year service video. I know it sounds weird to personify a car, but that car and I have been through a lot, especially after damaging its bumper after 2 weeks. We've been through an awful lot, and it saved mine and Sarah's life on the M25. But there also comes a point of, if it keeps attracting shit to you, then you want to get out of that situation. So, who knows? I've taken to doing more videos on my phone. I've done a lot where I'm sitting in the kitchen because it's very light, lovely white background all over my shelves, and calendar and whiteboard are not necessarily ideal background, but I try and keep Velocity Kinetics natural. I did used to love in early, was it 2013, 2014, doing the green screen videos, but they took forever. And if I wanted to go off on a rant, they would take forever to render. Now, I've learned a trick since then that would make my life a lot easier for editing, but the render time is insane. So going into 2024, I can't commit to any level of content in any way, shape, or form. I would love to do the NC 500, North Coast 500, and I do want to do a GoFundMe for that. But the other day I'd run some numbers, and I shouldn't have done it when I was tired. I think to do it, to allow for getting a car, getting it roadworthy if it's not, and extra camera equipment or potentially people to come along, I think it needs about £5,000, but for some reason it was nearly double that, and I don't need £10,000 to do that, so I'll have to revisit that. But that will be will be going live, and if that can happen, I will make that happen. I am a bit hampered by my computer, as I've mentioned, because it's a bit old, a bit slow. I've even formatted memory sticks to give it extra RAM, and it's just not. There's only so much RAM you can lob at a computer when the processor is not up to snuff anymore. Hopefully I can replace that, but again, when I've priced up what I would like, and this isn't even with replacing things like keyboards and things, although I don't need a keyboard, but if I wanted to do that sort of thing, I don't. It's sort of a good job I don't need peripherals, at least at the moment. But but without the peripherals, what I want to build is about £1,300, and that's not going mental with the specification list either. I want something that'll do me a good 5 years quite easily. But if you're buying bottom of the barrel equipment, it's not going to do you 5 years. So it needs to be a bit beefy, a bit beasty. But then again, when it's not making videos or playing games, it does just sit there as a thing to watch Disney Plus and Netflix on and YouTube. You see the quandary. And while some people say, well, have one for this and one for that, it's like, I haven't got space for 2 PCs. There we are. I'd like to do more cars and cooking next year, so probably see some more of that. I have an idea for a cooking YouTube channel I'd like to do, but I need to I don't want to watch too much of the cooking stuff because I don't want to get wrongly influenced, as in, yeah, no, I'm right. But what I want to do might be already done and done to death. But cars and cooking slightly different. And obviously you've seen our 2 editions of George and Izzy. So sometimes it's just a case of I don't want to record, I just want to sit and have the cat on my knee for God knows how long, until they just decide that they've had enough. As we are for 2023, it's been an okay year for the channel. Not the greatest. I'm still dealing with, I know I said it in last year, that the troll, that troll really got to me. My brother would say, well, you know, you're not doing pro YouTube, you don't do things the right way and things, but I don't know. It's one of these things. I think that let's put it this way, and I'll put it fairly bluntly and honestly. If Sarah and I manage to start a family, we will, or rather I will probably be doing a lot less content, because we're not going to be one of these people who do everything for Instagram or anything like that for family stuff. But I do not want any children I have growing up thinking it's okay to abandon doing family things because you want to film something. Now, if it's part of your course, or whatever it is you're doing, or part of your employment, so if YouTube was paying the bills, then you know what, fine, that's what I'd have to do, and they would learn that is part of the role. But because it's not my job, I'm not going to do that. But I'm also not going to. If Sarah had a child tomorrow, I'm not going to leave her if she doesn't want to be left alone. If she wants to be left alone, then fine. But if she doesn't want to be left alone, I'm not gonna just disappear unfairly to record. It's not fair on her. So I suppose the 2024 direction depends an awful lot on external factors. We'll see what those factors are, and we'll see what happens next. But for those who have been following, watching, even if you're not subscribed, it'd be nice if you subscribe, it'd be nice if you donate to the PayPal page. I thank you all for continuing to watch and just listen to myself drivel on. I know at times when I edit, I know, Izzy, speak of the devil, but I know at times I do go on like a wet towel, as someone put on one of my Swace videos years ago. But it's my release, and if someone likes to watch it, which helps me with my release, and it helps them release, why not? You know, I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Anyway, I've gone on again on this video, so thank you for watching. We'll see you next time we get a chance to do a video. Drive safe, look after yourselves.